Hello everyone. In this video we're going to be talking about additional pricing options in registration pricing. If you haven't already, you probably want to watch the introductory pricing video to kind of set the stage for this one. You can start with this one if you like. It's totally up to you. Alright, what are we going to talk about here? We're going to talk about offering multiple prices for a single class. A classic example of that will be having a different price for new versus returning families. We'll look at early registration discounts, prorating of prices, pricing based on the number of registrations on the order. So like the first registration is this price, second one has that price, and so on, so on, so on. Age-restricted pricing, maybe you've got prices for, a special price for infants, and you want to make sure that price can only apply to infants. And finally, pricing based on member groups or particular billing schedules. Maybe your monthly billing customers have a special rate for classes that they register for. Maybe they pay nothing because they're paying monthly. No, let's dig right in here. Our first example is the multiple prices for a single class. We go to a website page, an order page. Here's an example where we've got our sibling price filled in here for Susie Adams. But for Billy here, we've got a choice. There's a price for the first student in a new family of $95 and a first student in a returning family for $75. So what we have here are two prices that are available, and we're asking the customer to choose the applicable price. And if that's something you'd like to do, we can show you how to do that. So let's switch to the back end here. We'll go to Setup, Settings, Registration Pricing. We're in our example price set here, and let's look at our pricing tab. Here we've got two prices for the first student. Those two prices we just saw, the first student new family and first student returning. They've got those different amounts, and we've got the check mark for first student on an order checked for both of them. And that means both will show up when someone registers for a class, and we'll ask the user, the customer, to pick the appropriate price. Now, you could have as many different matching prices as you'd like. Sometimes there's a military family discount, or there might be discounts based on people coming from certain areas, or whatever the case might be. If you'd like to have multiple prices and let people choose, simply add the price here, and we'll list any applicable price for a given class. The flip side of that logic is that if you are defining a price for a particular location, like the village center or what have you, you'll want to define your other prices in the context of those other locations, just so that at any given time we're only showing the right prices for the right location. These any here, the any location, any class type, when you set up a price like that, we'll always show it. And sometimes you'll unintentionally be showing prices where you don't mean to. So always test, always take a look, make sure it's working the way you intended to. One other thing we'll mention about this example, the new family and returning family prices, is that there's a better way to do that, or a different way at least. If you'd like, you can have just one price here for the first student, and you could have an auto-apply fee that simply applies when a family doesn't have a recent enrollment. We'll just show that to you because it's another way to come at that same issue. I'm looking at this fee here, and I'm going to click down to my advanced options, and we're saying that this fee applies on the first registration on an order, and the fee applies to accounts that have no active enrollments in the last 12 months. So if we set up a fee like this and tell the system when to apply it, we don't really need the two prices for this new family, returning family case. The system will just look, see if they have any recent enrollments, and decide who's new and who's not new. So either approach is totally fine. There are many roads to the sunset. This is just, our goal here is just to kind of lay out your options for you. Okay, let's go back to prices and look at some of the other advanced options on prices. So let's open this new family price here, and let's go down to the advanced section and take a look. Now, on the price, we've got a usage note. If we need to have a special note about a particular price or instructions, we can add those here, and they'll show up when that price is selected. Our priority field here is just a sort order for our prices. If I am including multiple prices for a particular class, I can use the priority field to tell the system which prices should show first, second, third, etc. So that works in conjunction with showing multiple prices. I've got a taxable yes or no flag that works with my tax rates if I'm defining them. I move into early registration discounts. This is a pretty simple one. Up above, we had a price of $95, and maybe I say, hey, if you register early, the price is going to be $75, say, up until 10 days before my semester starts. And it might be before my class starts. I can do it either way. We can use a semester start date or a class start date. Whichever one you want to use is fine. So that's our early registration discount option. We'll turn that off. We'll go to prorating. Prorating, very similar to the early registration discount, but happens after class starts. So let's take a look there. There are two ways to do prorating. The first one is going to be based on class meetings that have been missed since, in this example, class started or the start of the current month. Let's start with the start of class just to explain that. So let's say it's going to be based on class meetings missed since the start of class. Say we're in the second week of class or third week of class. This says for each class meeting that was missed, reduce the amount by however many dollars. Maybe it's $10 we're going to reduce. So maybe we started with that 95, it'll go to 85, 75. And this says don't let the final amount go beneath $50 or whatever number you'd like to use. So this is saying when class starts, we're going to start with that full amount and it'll get reduced each time a week goes by. Or really, in this case, each time a class meeting goes by, which is typically a week, but doesn't have to be. Okay, the other option there is start of the current month, and that's sort of a special case option where you've got customers paying a fee based on monthly billing, and you want them to come in and pay whatever your monthly tuition is when they come and register. And this would say, hey, whatever that amount is, it can be a little bit less. If they've missed classes this month, they're coming in the middle of the month, but then at the start of the next month, it goes back to the full amount. So a couple subtle different options there. The second prorating option is handled a little differently. It just gives you a lot more control over it. It just says, hey, charge this much. Back to our example, it's $85 if it's, two days after the semester starts, and then it goes down to $80 5 days after the semester starts, whatever numbers you want to use, and this can be semester or class. So this gives you a little more control over how the prorating is applied. So if you want to take an approach like this, you totally can. You just have to indicate how many reductions you want to do and when those reductions should take place. Okay, that's prorating. Let's roll that up. Take a look at the next one. It's called Advanced Visibility Behavior. And that's a special one where you can say, ooh, I want this price for the first registration on an order, but I want a different price for the second or the third. Maybe it's more expensive for the first one, but then it gets cheaper as they add more class registrations. That's what we would use here. So we turn on this advanced visibility behavior and we say, hey, for this price, instead of apply it to any registration for a class on an order, really this one is just for the first registration on the order. And then I can have another price for the second or more, or I could have another one for the second and then the third or the fourth, etc. We can see all those options are in here. So you can create a complicated set of prices that change as they add classes if you want to do that. And there's some options too. You can say, hey, this price only applies when the same student is registering for multiple classes as opposed to any student. So there's a couple options there as to how those different prices are applied. And you'll want to experiment with that a little bit, and as always, test your prices as you go. Our next option here, let's take a look. That's age-restricted pricing. And in this case, you can say that this particular price is only valid for students between this age and that age. And if you just want a max age, you can say, hey, this is only for students younger than 10 months, say, or max age of 10 months, something like that if you like. And when should we calculate that of? Is that of the next class that is scheduled for the class if it's ongoing, or maybe it's for the first class because the semester hasn't started yet, whatever the case might be. And that's if, as we mentioned at the outset, if you have a special price for infants, for example, we'll enforce that and make sure that that price can only be used for an infant student. We'll turn that off. We'll go to the next option on our price here. and that's group assignment behavior. So if you'd like, this price, what this does is allow you to add special handling to pricing when it's selected. So in this case, if the user purchases a class with this price, we can assign them to a particular membership group. So for example, we can have a price that will add them to the gold membership group if they use that price. So perhaps the price is a special elite price. If they use that, that includes membership in this gold member group, and they'll be added to that group automatically. Another example, I'm going to leave that one where it is and say, oh, if they select this price, they're added automatically to our monthly billing group, and that account will get sorted into that group for you to go and process later. Another way to do this would be to say, hey, anyone who uses this price is going to go into, my default group, and then I've got an admin who's going to go and make sure to look at everybody in the default group and push them into the quarterly, monthly group or ad hoc group or whatever the case might be. So this is the ability to assign people, customers, to different membership levels or groups, billing groups, based on using a particular price. And that's what that option is for. And one slight added thing here, if you have some coupons or auto-apply fees and discounts that are using the membership or billing schedule filters, you can decide whether or not the customer should be able to access those special fees, discounts, coupons based on the new membership level. So that would be the updated group value, it says here. So the example there would be this user's picking a price that will put them into the gold member elite group, and that will give them access on this order to any special discounts that the gold members are supposed to get. And that's what that is saying. And if for some reason they don't really get that, they shouldn't be getting those discounts quite yet, we can say that they shouldn't get those until after the order has been committed, and then they can start accessing them. So some subtleties there if you're working with group assignment from order processing. One final thing I think we want to say about advanced pricing options here is a little tip. If we go back to the website, if you're working on your prices and you're making changes, you want to come back to your website and check it out, make sure that things are working as you intend them to. One thing that's important to know, though, is your website will not see a lot of your pricing changes until you start a new order. So in this case, I've got an order in progress. If I change my prices or add new rules, the website will not see it until a new order is created. So one little tip for that is to go up to your shopping cart and choose the Clear Cart option. That will cause the system to flush out the current order and load any new pricing rules. And that little option is only seen when you're on the shopping cart page as we are now. So if I click that, I've dumped the order out, I've got an empty shopping cart, I can start a new one, and I'll see all my new prices. So that's a little tip for working with your prices and being able to go validate them on your website, which we always recommend that you do. And the final note here is always remember, from the back end, you can always get the help from the question mark. Go to the help guide and follow your path, just like the menu, general, settings, in this case, registration pricing, and see all your help articles on registration pricing and advanced options, just like we've been discussing here. Okay, thanks a lot.